I looked at others who had already achieved strong bodies and disciplined routines, and I felt discouraged. But instead of giving up, I made a promise to myself. I would celebrate even the smallest effort. If I managed 10 push-ups, I would smile and count it as a victory. If I resisted the urge to skip one day, I would clap for myself. The first week was shaky, but every small win I acknowledged gave me strength to continue. Months later, not only had my body grown stronger, but my mind had shifted too. I learned that celebrating progress, no matter how small, creates momentum. That lesson extended beyond fitness. It applied to my work, my relationships, and my personal growth. The danger of ignoring small wins is that you live in constant dissatisfaction. You may have written one page of your book, but instead of celebrating, you scold yourself for not finishing the whole thing. You may have saved a little money, but you dismiss it because it's not enough for your dream. You may have taken the first step toward healing or change, but you belittle it because it feels insignificant. This is why so many people lose motivation. They don't give themselves credit for the steps they are already taking. Celebrating small wins is not about pretending you have reached the finish line. It's about honoring the fact that you are moving forward. It's about recognizing that growth is a process, not an instant transformation. Every drop of water may seem small, but together they form an ocean. Every small win is a seed that grows into confidence, resilience, and joy. When you begin to notice and celebrate these little victories, life becomes lighter. You no longer feel like you are always chasing a distant dream. You realize you are already living parts of that dream today. That first walk in the morning, that first conversation where you spoke with courage, that first attempt at something new, these are not trivial. They are proof that you are growing. So, celebrate yourself. Celebrate that you woke up today. Celebrate that you tried, even if you failed. Celebrate that you are not where you used to be. The more you practice this, the more happiness you will find in the journey itself. And when the big victories finally come, you will realize they are not the only treasures. Your joy has been with you all along, hidden inside every small win you chose to honor. Number 6. Turn daily routines into rituals. Most people see their daily routines as ordinary tasks, something to get done quickly so they can move on to the important things. They brush their teeth, drink their coffee, clean their room, or commute to work almost mechanically, without awareness or presence. Yet, hidden inside these everyday acts is a profound opportunity. If you approach them with mindfulness and intention, routines can become rituals that nourish your soul. Rituals are not about complexity or ceremony. They are about transforming the ordinary into something meaningful, grounding, and joyful. I discovered this truth during one of the busiest times of my life. My days were long, filled with responsibilities that left me drained. Everything felt like a chore, and even the simplest tasks became burdensome. But one morning, instead of rushing through breakfast, I decided to slow down. I brewed my tea carefully, noticing the warmth of the cup in my hands, the gentle rising steam, the fragrance filling the air. As I sipped slowly, I realized I had turned an ordinary routine into a sacred pause, a moment of peace before the chaos of the day. That small shift in awareness changed everything. What used to be a rushed act of fueling my body became a ritual of gratitude and presence. From then on, I began looking at all my routines differently. This practice taught me that it's not about what you are doing, it's about how you are doing it. Cleaning your room can feel like a boring obligation, or it can be a ritual of creating order and harmony in your space. Cooking can feel like a chore, or it can be a ritual of nourishing your body and showing love to those who share the meal. Walking to work can feel like wasted time, or it can be a ritual of connecting with your breath, observing the world around you, and grounding yourself in the present moment. When you approach life this way, you stop rushing through your days as if you are waiting for them to be over. Instead, you begin to savor each moment as it comes. And the beauty is, you no longer need extraordinary events to feel happiness. Your daily life itself becomes extraordinary. Every sip of water, every moment of silence, every sunrise you notice turns into a source of joy. I often think back to that morning with my tea. It reminded me that life is not lived only in grand moments, but in thousands of small acts repeated daily. If those acts are done mindlessly, life feels empty. But if those acts are done with love and awareness, life feels sacred. So, ask yourself, which of your routines can you transform into rituals? Begin small. Choose one thing: your morning coffee, your evening walk, your journaling, or even the way you greet your loved ones. Do it with presence, gratitude, and intention. Soon, you will discover that happiness is not somewhere far away. It is hidden inside the rituals of your daily life, waiting to be awakened. Number 7. Embrace imperfections. So many people live trapped by the idea of perfection. They tell themselves, I will be happy when I look perfect, when my work is flawless, when my life has no mistakes. But perfection is an illusion, a moving target that always shifts the moment you think you've reached it. The more you chase it, the more exhausted you become. True happiness comes when you release the need to be perfect and learn to embrace your imperfections, not as weaknesses, but as unique parts of your human journey. I remember a time when I used to fear making mistakes. Whenever I started something new, whether it was speaking in front of others, learning a skill, or even building relationships, I would overthink every detail. I wanted to appear confident, strong, and capable. But in that constant pursuit of being flawless, I lost my authenticity. One day, during a public talk, I stumbled on my words and forgot an important point I wanted to make. For a moment I froze, feeling embarrassed, convinced I had ruined everything. But then something unexpected happened. The audience smiled, some even nodded with understanding. I realized they weren't judging me, they were connecting with me. In that vulnerable moment, my imperfection made me more human, more relatable, and more real. From that day, I understood that people are not drawn to perfection, they are drawn to authenticity. Embracing imperfections doesn't mean settling for less or avoiding growth. It means understanding that mistakes are part of progress, flaws are part of beauty, and cracks are part of strength. Just like a piece of pottery becomes more valuable in Japanese kintsugi art when its cracks are filled with gold, your scars and struggles make you more unique and precious. The parts of yourself you once wanted to hide may be the very parts that inspire others. Think about nature. No mountain is perfectly shaped, no tree grows in a straight line, no river flows without bends. Yet we look at them with awe, not criticism. Why then do we expect ourselves to be flawless when life itself is built on imperfection? When you begin to embrace your imperfections, life feels lighter. You stop carrying the weight of unrealistic expectations. You stop punishing yourself for not being enough. Instead, you begin to see mistakes as lessons, failures as stepping stones, and flaws as evidence that you are alive and growing. The pressure to appear perfect disappears, and in its place comes freedom, the freedom to be yourself fully. I often remind myself that the most meaningful connections I've made in life were not through moments of perfection, but through shared struggles, shared vulnerabilities, and shared humanity. When I look back, the times I laughed the hardest, learned the most, and felt the deepest happiness were always when things didn't go exactly as planned. So, embrace your imperfections. Smile at your mistakes. Be kind to yourself when you fall. Remember, life does not demand perfection, it demands presence. And when you accept yourself as you are, with all your flaws and cracks, you will realize that happiness was never about being perfect. It was always about being real. Number 8, live with presence, not distraction. One of the greatest challenges of our time is distraction. Our minds are constantly pulled in 100 directions by phones, notifications, endless to-do lists, and worries about yesterday or tomorrow. And because of this, most people are rarely fully here. They are eating while scrolling, talking while thinking about something else, walking while lost in worries. But happiness does not live in distraction. Happiness lives in presence. To live fully, you must learn to give your attention to the moment unfolding before you, because the present is the only place where life truly exists. I learned this lesson deeply during a family dinner years ago. My parents, siblings, and I were gathered around the table, but I wasn't really there. I was physically present, yet my mind was on my phone, replying to emails, checking updates, and scrolling aimlessly. At one point, I looked up and realized I had missed a story my father was telling, one of those stories he rarely shared. I saw the light in his eyes as he spoke, the way everyone was laughing and leaning in, but I had been absent, distracted. A wave of regret hit me, because I knew that moment would never come back again. From that day forward, I promised myself to be more present, especially with the people I love, to put the phone down, to look into their eyes, to listen with my heart. That shift changed not only my relationships but also my happiness. Presence is powerful because it anchors you in reality. The past exists only in memory, the future only in imagination, but the present moment is alive. When you are present, even ordinary acts become sacred. Eating a simple meal turns into an experience of gratitude. Walking outside becomes a meditation. Listening to someone becomes a gift of connection. Distraction, on the other hand, robs you twice. It steals your now, and it steals your memory of now. How many moments have you lived half-heartedly, only to look back and barely remember them because your mind was elsewhere? Presence prevents this loss. It allows you to absorb the richness of life as it happens. Living with presence doesn't mean abandoning responsibilities or ignoring the future. It means giving your full attention to what is in front of you at this moment. If you are working, work with focus. If you are resting, rest completely. If you are with someone, be fully with them. Life becomes joyful not because it is free of problems, but because you are awake enough to notice the beauty that still exists despite the problems. Now, whenever I sit with my family or friends, I remind myself, this moment is alive only once. I put my phone aside, breathe deeply, and choose to be here. And in doing so, I have discovered that presence is not just a practice, it is a gift, both to yourself and to others. So live with presence, not distraction. Slow down, pay attention, allow yourself to truly see, hear, and feel the moment you are in. Because happiness is never hidden in yesterday or tomorrow, it is always waiting for you here, in the present. Number 9, choose laughter over complaints. Every day we are given a choice, to complain about what is missing or to find lightness in what is present. Complaining comes easily. It requires no effort to focus on what is wrong, unfair,